Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your daily dose of zombies news from the game and its community here on COD Zombies HQ. Thank you so much for tuning in today. There is a whole lot to talk about, including a new update into Cold War today that finally fixes something we've been asking for since the release of Malware like 3 weeks ago. So without further ado, let's kick things right off with our first story of the day. The general outline for content being added into Cold War with Season 5 was revealed today, and as you can see by the Season 5 roadmap, this seems to be a very multiplayer-centric season, with multiplayer getting 5 new maps added to the game, and zombies getting kind of what we expected, to be honest. More Outbreak content, and a new perk, which we talked about as it was leaked yesterday, one that nobody really was expecting, that being Death Perception. Now, yesterday we can only theorize about why Treyarch would add this perk into the game. It doesn't really make any sense, especially when we expected to see either PhD Flopper or Double Tap added in its stead. But Treyarch did try to kind of lessen the blow of why they would add Death Perception instead of something more effective or something that fans were expecting, where they said this: to maintain a satisfying balance in Cold War Zombies, the design team is focused on ensuring that our upcoming perks, plural, improve other game mechanics in the mode than just damage and health. That's why this season's new perk is all about increasing survivability, awareness, armor penetration, and even salvage drop rates. So there's a little bit to unpack here. Treyarch is trying to justify why they added Death Perception into the game, with them saying they wanted perks to focus less on just damage and health increases and focus on other different game mechanics instead. So to me, this says that it's far less likely that we'll see Double Tap anytime soon, considering that they said that this philosophy applies to perks in the future, plural. But fitting in with this new philosophy, I can see PhD Flopper fitting into this, but only time will tell if they'll add PhD with the DLC for Zombies map. Now, about the upgrades for Death Perception itself, the base version of the perk honestly is pretty well useless. In a game that's as wide open as Cold War Zombies, you don't really have much of those enclosed interiors that you do throughout all of the other Zombies maps in the past. So seeing zombies through walls isn't that important, especially with armor in the game. But for the upgrades, to make this perk a little bit more palatable, they say that the upgrades will be focused on survivability, which may be that modifier ability from the original Death Perception that enables you to do a little bit more damage to boss zombies' critical areas. Next, they say awareness, which is likely highlighting those critical areas of boss zombies so you can more easily target them. Armor penetration, which means you'll do more damage to both armored zombies as well as guys like the Panzer Soldat, and even salvage drop rates, they conclude. We heard a little bit about this from some chatter within the leaker community, that one of the tier upgrades could affect the amount of salvage and or rarity you get from opening up loot chests within the zombies mode. Obviously, that doesn't really apply to round-based maps, not a lot of loot chests available in that game mode, aside from the Coffin Dance Easter egg and all of its variations, but there's obviously a lot more loot chests within the Outbreak game mode, which seems like this perk is more so targeting, especially considering pretty much all of the new content within this season is focused on the Outbreak game mode once again, where a new Outbreak map will be launching into the game with Season 5. It'll be called Collateral, and of course, it's not a map designed for zombies. There's no zombies flavoring within this map. It's a ported multiplayer map, but the one big plus that I will see is that all the Outbreak maps kind of feel pretty similar because they're all set within the Ural Mountain Range region, copy and pasted from the cancelled Warzone map that was set in the Ural Mountains. This new map is set in the Algerian desert, so at least it'll feel a little bit different, especially in the color palette compared to all of the other Ural Mountain Outbreak maps we've seen so far. Along with it, they'll be introducing a new transport objective, which, to be honest with you, sounds pretty fun. It's more creative than the ones they've added in the past. This one tasks you with defending a vehicle as you drive it across the map to a destination. That sounds like it could be a good time, aside from Tempest just sniping your vehicle from long range, disabling it, which could be very, very annoying. But speaking of vehicles, they are adding a new tank vehicle into the game, which of course is already in Black Ops Cold War in the Combined Arms mode, but not within Outbreak. Now it is, and it'll be retroactively added into some of the old Outbreak Zombies maps for us to try out. The last thing they're adding into Outbreak, which could be a lot of fun, ripped right from Black Ops 4, is the grapple gun, which could make moving around some of the Outbreak maps, which, let's be honest, are pretty big and are pretty empty, a little bit more interesting than it was before. It's something you'll have to actually craft from the crafting station in game, and we're not sure if it has unlimited uses or if it kind of runs out over time. Next up, we finally have some details of the new field upgrade, which seems to have been renamed from Lightning Lynx to Tesla Storm, which according to Treyarch has the effect of, upon activation, lightning will shoot out between you and your allies, stunning and damaging normal enemies. Upon upgrading its skill tiers, this electricity can start stunning special and elite zombies, and even boost your squad's movement speed. So it seems like it's another area of effect stun upgrade. I will say definitely not as creative or interesting as the idea that some people in the community were proposing yesterday for the Lightning Lynx upgrade, but I guess again we'll actually have to see how it plays within the game to see where it stacks up on the field upgrade totem pole, if it can compete with the likes of Frenzied Guard, Ring of Fire, and Aether's Shroud, which are considered probably the best field upgrades in the game. Along with the update, Treyarch is also adding a new score streak, which is the Flammenwerfer, which happens to Werfer the Flammen, which Treyarch describes this flamethrower as a step up from the combat bow if you happen to have a little bit extra rare salvage, and if you're not afraid to get a little bit closer than the soon-to-be-burning undead. Treyarch also says they'll be adding a whole bunch of new intel pickups exclusive to the Outbreak game mode that'll actually expand on the story from Mauer der Toten, concluding by saying the Requiem director's agendas and his plans for Samantha Maxis will soon be revealed. So either that content will be revealed in the intel releasing with Outbreak, or perhaps we might be seeing a more direct reveal, maybe in the form of another Outbreak Easter egg within Season 5 Reloaded, or that can even be teasing the next round-based map, which we assume will probably release at the start of Season 6, but if it releases earlier than that, I'm not complaining. Next, within these big updates, Treyarch sometimes does this. They like to include a little bit of an overarching statement about the balance and meta of the Zombies mode as they see it, and this seems to be how they see it going into Season number 5. With so many players achieving around 100 plus runs for the first time in their Zombies career, in addition to all of our new recent weapon damage buffs, enemy health cap reductions, and dynamically upgraded wall-buy weapons, we believe that the Zombies meta is rock solid heading into Season 5. We've also got a new round of weapon tuning coming for a selection of the ARs and SMGs, including some new tweaks to the LC-10, of which they'll give some more details on exactly which weapons are being buffed and nerfed within the Zombies mode within the update next week. Next up, along with the reveal of the Season 5 content today, there was also a new update released into Cold War Zombies, where Treyarch says they've fixed something that I know a lot of you guys have continued to have issues with, that I see it in the comments of every single video. But now Treyarch says that they've addressed an issue that sometimes caused the player's third weapon to drop when repurchasing Mule Kick. If the weapon does end up dropping and you pick it up, usually that's when the weapon is actually glitched. You can't pack a bunch it anymore. All of the attachments fall off the weapon and it basically becomes just a glitched weapon, totally unusable. But Treyarch is saying they've patched it now. I will just say, even though they've patched it, still be careful when rebuying Mule Kick after you've gone down. Probably don't just go spamming the Wonder Fizz machine, rebuying all of your perks. Go grab a Mule Kick on its own at the machine to ensure you get your third weapon back successfully. Speaking of getting your weapon back, Treyarch does say that they've closed an exploit that allowed the player to hold two of the same wonder weapon when using Mule Kick. So no more doubling up on the Cerberus on Mauer. It seems like Treyarch has introduced a new block into the game in order to prevent that. Next up, a massive heads up to you, anybody out there who's still running Black Ops Cold War or even playing Warzone and you have the Windows 7 operating system on your computer, you won't be able to play Cold War at all or any Warzone come September 7th, 2021. Activision is shutting down support for the game if you're running Windows 7 on your computer, meaning you won't be able to even play the game anymore unless you upgrade your machine to Windows 10. So just a heads up to any other PC gamers out there, upgrade your operating system, or unfortunately be left behind. Lastly, I know we haven't done this for a while, but considering the theme is of course Outbreak, it's time for some Outbreak versus vehicles. Where though in the past, if you guys have watched, we've seen vehicles fly around all over the place with weird physics in the Outbreak game mode, but I gotta say, this is probably one of the best ones I have ever seen. It comes to us from Reddit user Jacob 2.7, where a while ago we saw a small clip of it, but now we get to see it in its full glory, where you can take the Orta with you on a little bit of a vacation. It treats the Jeep as a skateboard, and you can just drive that big ol' sucker around wherever you want on the map. And of course the clip has got to end with the classic Outbreak vehicle jank of falling right through the map, resulting in one of his teammates instantly going down. Just classic Outbreak versus vehicles, guys. But that wraps up the show today. I want to thank you so much for watching. Hey, if you did enjoy it, consider leaving a thumbs up on the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. There is some very, very interesting stuff that's come out recently about the possibility of future Major Zombies DLC here in Cold War that we haven't really talked about that much. I'll be making a dedicated video about that soon. I can't wait to share it with you guys, but until I do, I want to thank you again for watching, and I'll see you with another Zombies News video tomorrow. Peace.